Hello, welcome to FountainFX on Friday the 6th of March 2015. What an amazing week we've actually had, a week full of news reports and speculation, particularly around the euro and the US dollar. If we look here on Thursday, which was widely anticipated, it was the ECB press conference for the euro where they promptly announced quantitative easing but gave it a nice new branded image, which basically means that they're having to print money and support the euro, and Greece and Cyprus put their hand up and said they need help and they need money as well. All this good stuff. So no matter how brave a face Draghi put on it, it still had a negative impact on the euro. So we saw the euro fall promptly a good sort of 100 points against the US dollar and against other currencies. Now, to add to that, if we quickly flick through to Friday, we were waiting for non-farm payrolls data to come out on Friday, and in reality it did, and it was better than expected, but not by a huge amount. An additional 50,000 jobs created in the US, and the unemployment rate reduced by 0.1%. So the US economy seems to be growing quite nicely, but not of a major or a massive kind of impact in reality. However, the reaction overall in the market was one of a pure run to the US dollar, run from everything else and run to the US dollar. So if we quickly flick over to the charts, you can see exactly how this impacted pricing out there on US dollar pairs, and the benefit that it's given to a lot of traders who took the opportunity to buy the US dollar and sell everything else. So when we turn to the euro-US dollar, obviously the major currency pair, we see that on Thursday with the ECB news, we saw a very rapid fall of 120 points in the euro against the US dollar, collapse there. Then we saw some overnight sort of order flow happening, and then with the European Open into the US dollar news announcement in terms of the employment change, we then saw overall another 200 points wiped off the value of the euro against the US dollar. So in total, just under 300 points in 2 days wiped off this particular currency pair. And with the news on Friday coming out about the US dollar positive news, we've seen a similar impact when we look at the US dollar yen, where price rallied from the 120 all the way up to the 120.20, so 120.120, so another 120 point shift on the US dollar yen. If we then flick over to the pound US dollar, the pound US dollar shows a similar story to that of the euro, where a 200 point loss on the pound was achieved during Friday's trading, and it's literally just straight down. There's not a lot of pullback happening in this particular marketplace. Similarly, for the US dollar against the Canadian dollar, we see the rapid rise in the US dollar against the CAD, as happened once the non-farm payrolls news came out on Friday, where we see a price hike from the 124.60 all the way up to the 126.20. So a significant move of 150 points in that particular marketplace, 160 points. And then when we flick over to the Australian dollar against the US dollar, we see a similar picture where the Aussie lost 120 points against the US dollar in a similar time frame of only a few hours. So very, very significant. If we also then look for ourselves here in South Africa, unfortunately we do see a 250 point shift in the value of the US dollar against the South African rand. And this shows very clearly how the value of the South African rand has totally gone to the dogs in reality against the US dollar. I mean, absolutely no form of resistance against the US dollar strength that's occurred. We've got a significant pullback happening following that, unlike other currencies, but very much upwards momentum from the 1178 all the way up to a high of the 1210. So we're talking more like 300 points move in that particular market sector than the 250 originally suggested. So very much US dollar strength going on at the moment. Let's see how gold has actually fared against the US dollar as well. And as with anything, obviously with US dollar strength and gold is paired against the US dollar, then therefore we saw the value of gold fall against the US dollar as markets and investors, etc., shifted their funds into US dollars, seeing that as the safe haven, and not gold, surprisingly enough, at the moment. So basically, the US dollar has seen a massive influx and input of money into its particular currency in the last day. So the key thing that's going to be interesting from this is just to see how Monday's start to the week next week either reverses and unpicks all of this US dollar strength and potentially continues to rally in the reverse direction, or if there is actually just a minor stall and we see a continuation in this collapse of other currencies against the onslaught of US dollar strength. And that's it really from FountainFX. Happy trading. Join us on our website, fountainfx.co.za. We do weekly webinars Tuesday and Thursday evenings. You can find out more about that if you email us at support@fountainfx.co.za. And you can also join us on our WhatsApp group, but email us to find out more. Thank you very much. All the best. Happy trading. Bye-bye.